And that's the intro, courtesy of, you know who they are, Suno. And they don't sponsor this, but I got to give them credit because it's awesome. I, I, I said it before, I'll say it again. I have way too much fun. My name is Sean Shapiro. I am a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I talk to you about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And we're going to do just that again right now. We are coming to you across a number of platforms, all the good ones, the ones that you're on. We're currently on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course X, which was once called, yes, Twitter. And if you have questions, we've got answers. That's how this game is played. If you put questions into the chat, that's where they'll be seen. Then I'll be able to answer them. And if you can't stick around for the entire show, and I know you're a busy person, I get it. You can also download us or subscribe to us on podcasting platforms everywhere. You can get us on Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcast, Spotify. And here's a funny thing. Did you know that YouTube is considered the largest podcasting platform in the world? I didn't know that. I thought Apple Podcasts would for sure be the number one and Spotify, but apparently it's not. So you can also get reruns of this available to watch or listen to on the app, that YouTube app. Of course, I like this podcasting system where you can download it and store it on your device locally without having to pay for a subscription. I think that's what you have to do when you're on Apple Podcasts. But anyway, I digress. You can get us there. I upload the episodes after we're done streaming. Usually takes a few hours until it's all ready to go and download. But if you subscribe, it'll just magically appear on your phone next time you're on Wi-Fi, and that's pretty cool. A reminder that in this show, we're going to be joining Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010 at approximately 10:35. That's when he joins us for about 10, 15 minutes. His telephone number, the studio's telephone number, is 416-872-1010. And if you call around 10:30, you might find yourself getting on the air, which is pretty cool. 71010 if you want to text them, and you can ask questions that way. Excuse me. What else do I got to talk about? I got to talk about the Vision Zero enforcement team. We're going to try and change the order of operations here. We're going to talk about Vision Zero enforcement team, and then we'll come back to stuff and things. Yes, we'll do this whole, I didn't want that one to come up here. I want this one to come up here. Oh, I guess I do want that one to come up here. Okay, we'll leave it like that. I'm trying new things, okay? What do we got here? Oh, yes, Vision Zero enforcement team, that magical group of officers who spend their days focusing on the big four. Yes, they're looking for those that are speeding, driving aggressively, driving distracted, and of course, driving impaired. That's a focus. That doesn't mean they don't write tickets for anything else. If you got tinted windows, expect to get pulled over. Yeah, if you're breaking the law, whatever that law is, expect a ticket. That's what they do. Changing driver behavior, one ticket at a time. And that's really important. People can constantly accuse us of trying to take your hard-earned money. Remember, if we're writing you a ticket, it's because we caught you doing something that was against the law. You did it. We just made a note. And if you should be mad at anybody, it should be yourself. Anyway, if you want to avoid them, you should probably avoid the areas in 32 Division and 41 Division, like Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, Cliffside, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. That's where they'll be. It's not the only place they'll be. And of course, you have to remember that every police officer in the city of Toronto, they're all capable of writing tickets. So don't break the law. It's much, much friendlier and happier when you go home without a ticket. And that's what that song was all about this morning. Trying to take a different spin on music creation on Suno. I'm having a lot of fun with it. This is what my off-duty hours are comprised of: pressing buttons, AI prompts, learning stuff. Brandon says, good morning to Sean and to all of the good people. Let's have fun and safe day. That's an awesome message coming in through YouTube. And he has a question, so let me flag that. We'll come back to it. I'll try and get the hellos quick. Hi and good morning, Sean, from Stephen Bell. We've got Paul who says, hello, Sean. Good morning, all. Julie Massey is here with good morning to everyone. We've got Tim Shallow who says, good morning, Sean. Kayla Draconis is here with greetings and salutations from Mount Zion, returning tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the day. Hopefully the sun has come out since then. I know there's no solar eclipse for you to deal with, but at the same time, fun stuff. Niha says, morning from Saga. I understand that I'm perhaps too early. You were 10:01. You were right on. I think you came in just as the music started. Eid Mubarak. I don't think I pronounced that right, but I gave it a shot. AP, not Autumn Mars. We have a watch person here. Awesome. Well, I share the hobby and appreciate. But yes, I'm hoping that everyone has a happy Eid. That starts, I guess, today. Boy Mom 8424 says, "Good morning, Sean and Marie, if he arrives." And I hope he shows up. Yesterday, he said he was coming, and then he didn't. And of course, we are going to be joined by Jerry Agar at around 10:35. So get your questions ready. Phone in early. We'll talk more about that in a bit. We have a quote from Akela. Then we got mentioned. Oh, from exclamation. Cool. All right. A question about from Kabir Ahmed, who wants to know why the York Regional Police are so keen on stopping car meets. Why are they the only ones threatening car lovers? Okay, I saw this in the media. I saw the tweets, and we've been having discussions. You have to know that they're not alone. All police services are interested in stopping illegal activity. Meeting a car meet is not a problem. Trespassing is a problem. Destroying property is a problem. Stunt driving is a problem. Having unsafe motor vehicles on the road is a problem. Doing dumb stuff in general is usually how laws get created. And that's what a lot of car lovers do. Now, I'm not going to suggest that all car lovers are bad. That's not the case at all. In fact, we like going to car meets ourselves. But we're not talking about hooking up at the Timmy's to show off your car. We're talking about people who are doing burnouts. We have people who are doing, drifting in and amongst people. Have you seen some of the videos? Check them out. People who are closing down roads and doing this stupidity. This is not car lovers. This is criminals. This is criminal activity. At very least, it's violating Highway Traffic Act stuff. So yeah, we're interested in keeping people safe and keeping the laws followed. If you don't break the law, we have no problem with you. And that is that. Forced VC says tickets don't change behavior. Wrong. It may not work on everybody, that's for sure, but there's people who do far worse and have been arrested and get arrested again and go to jail, get out and do the same. You can't fix stupid. You can't fix everything. But tickets do change behavior, absolutely. Do you know why I know? Because it changed behavior for me. I got a speeding ticket when I was a kid. I ran a stop sign, got another red light, got a stop sign ticket. Yeah. I never did that again because it worked. I didn't want to pay $110 or whatever the fine was back then when I was 16. It worked. It was a negative experience. I didn't like it. My parents didn't appreciate it. I risked not driving again. So it really worked, so much so that I became a police officer, if you hadn't noticed. Now, does it work on everybody? I've already said it doesn't. I get it. But it works on the majority. Those outliers who can't figure it out, well, we take their licenses away. That's what points are for. You eventually lose your privileges. And the people who still drive without licenses, eventually they get to have a visit to jail because driving without a license and driving without insurance and all that jazz, breaking laws has consequences. Sometimes they get pretty serious. Driving without insurance can be 6 months in jail. Stunt driving can be 6 months in jail. Do it again and again, you get to do more jail eventually. Not everybody goes to jail. Why can't I have tinted windows? It's a great question. You can have tinted windows. You can't tint all of your windows. Your windshield cannot have tint. And of course, the windows left and right of the driver do have maximums. You can't be so dark that we can't see inside. You don't need to pick your nose in privacy. Be bold. Pick your nose in public. That's it. I appreciate that a car can look pretty cool when the windows are blacked out. It looks like a toy Matchbox car. But safety is a thing. Not only do we have to be able to see in for officer safety, we have to be able to see in to see if you're following the law. In addition to following the law, well, you really do need to be able to see through the window. It's a window, not a wall. So there's a whole lot to that. Follow the law, follow the rules, and you can have tinted windows. Just stay within the rules. All right. What do we got here? There's a lot of incompetence on the road that breed frustration and aggression. That's from Fatbald5. There's a lot of bad drivers out there, like a lot of bad drivers. And that's one of the reasons we talk about the reason that you need to pay attention and be a good driver and follow the rules, because we want to keep everybody on a level playing field. This morning I watched a pickup truck past somebody. They were likely alone in the HOV lane, passing a lawful driver in the HOV lane. They crossed the lines out of the HOV lane and then back in. This was a pickup truck with a huge load of metal, looked like metal rods or rails that were sticking out 5 or 10 feet of this material out over the cab of the pickup truck. Driving like a, well, you can imagine what I want to call them. But they were driving in such a way that I would have pulled them over and I would have charged them maybe quite seriously. They were maniacs on the road and they should not have a license. That person needs to lose their privileges. And that might mean losing their career, but they're choosing to put people in danger. If that would have caused a collision or resulted in a collision, the load that may or may not have been secured lawfully could have killed somebody easily. So it's just anyway, lots of dum-dums on the road. There is no doubt, but we got to keep everybody safe. Let's see here. All of the Toronto people are online. Fior says, can you wish Eid, is it Mubarak or Mubarak? I don't know how to pronounce this, so I always want to pronounce everything properly, and it bothers me when I can't, but I'll try with a happy Eid for everybody. I mentioned it earlier, but Fior wants to make sure I don't miss any of my Muslim brothers and sisters, and I quote. So, yes, happy Eid, absolutely. BC Scanner says, no victim, no crime. Not true. You break the law, it's still breaking the law. Just because sometimes you don't get caught or sometimes it doesn't result in a serious event that leads to harm or death, doesn't mean that. See, the concept is when you do things in a certain way, you create problems. You get very comfortable and you start pushing the limits. If you go fast every day, you go fast every day. Well, one of those days it's going to catch up with you. Neha says it was sad to hear about the assault yesterday. Was this the assault of police officers? Which assault was it? Unfortunately, there's many assaults that happen on a regular basis. So I don't know which one you're referring to. But I don't like to hear about anybody getting hurt. That is not good. Okay, G2 driver can drive on the highway, correct? Because my mom said no, and we're arguing about it. That's from Fred Zizin. The deal is that, G2 driver is a probationary driver, different from a learner. A learner, as a G1, must be supervised, and no, you cannot go on highway unless you are, I should specify, a highway that is a controlled access, being like the 401 with speed limits over 80. A G2 is essentially a full licensed driver that has some conditions and has to complete one more step to keep their license permanently. But they're a fully licensed driver as a G2 and can drive on any controlled access highway, the 407, the 401. They can drive interprovincially. They can drive into the United States, but they must follow their conditions. So you can go tell your mom that I told her she was wrong. Sorry, Mom. Dylan's got attitude. We'll ignore Dylan. Dad joke from Akela for later. We expect rain yesterday? How do you expect something from that's already happened? We did have rain, and where I'm living, we had rain last night. It was loud, flashes. It was very, very bright. How do you feel about Mounties? I think they've got cool uniforms. They're just other police. We're all police, and I don't want to. What prevents me from being a Mountie is not wanting to leave Ontario or Toronto. But I thought about it. I've got friends that are bomb techs with one particular bomb tech I'm saying hello to right now that I should get him on the show. But he's a Mountie. And so there's some really cool Mounties out there. I've never worked with Mounties front line, though. Like, I've always done motor squad kind of stuff with, I was going to say VIP, but it's internationally, IPP. It's internationally protected persons. Okay. Good morning from Nova Scotia. The message is from Rural Dad Outdoors. What's going on? How rural are you in Nova Scotia? I'll have to check out your content. Okay. And good morning, watching from Barrie is F1 Fanatic. Welcome. Thanks for saying hey. Hey, if you don't already follow us, please do on whatever platform you're watching on, because we appreciate the fact that you're here. This show is made better by your involvement. The more we have questions to answer and discussions to have, that's what makes this so awesome. And if you do have those questions, make sure you put them into the comments because that's how this works. If you're watching on Instagram, I apologize in advance. It's simply not as good as the other platforms. So I invite you to go to trafficcop.ca. Trafficcop.ca will have links to all of the social media content that we create. You can find us on TikTok, YouTube, wherever you go, it works. YouTube might be the most stable of platforms. We're having good luck right now that the comments are coming through on TikTok, but it doesn't always work. So if you want guaranteed, you can go to youtube.trafficcop.ca or go. I put the wrong bloody thing up here. Here, trafficcop.ca. That actually says trafficcop.ca now. Yeah. So if you want to stay in touch, follow us everywhere. And if you want to know where our Vision Zero enforcement team is every day, we post that every single morning on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And also Threads. Does anybody use Threads? I think that's one of the most underwhelming platforms ever. I don't know why it exists. Yeah, but we post there. Uzi wants to know what the chances of becoming a cop without a degree is. I think we talked about this before, and I think you're the one who asked me, but you can absolutely become a police officer without a degree. Now, competition is competition, so the more education and the better you look compared to others, the better you look compared to others. But here's the deal. Uzi, you might have great experience and not a degree, and the other person may have a degree and no experience, and you might be on an equal playing field. And we will talk about employment after because I like to talk about employment. There's lots of good stuff there. And I think there's like 9 current postings. Special constables we're hiring, but we'll talk about that in about 15 minutes. So stick around if you're looking for a job, if you'd like to join a magical organization. I mean magical. I've been with the service for 24 years. It's an amazing place to work. There are amazing people who work here. I have lifelong friends. And you know what? This is a job for life. Very few people say, you know what? I'm done. I'm bored. Because it changes. Every day you wake up, you don't know what's going on. And I mean that in, when you're going to be showing up for work, you don't know when you're coming home. You don't know what kind of stuff you're going to be dealing with. It's exciting just because it's different. An office job can get boring. This never gets boring. There's stuff that's annoying. Paperwork is never fun, but it's always, interesting challenges, and you get to meet great people like you. And I mean that with all sincerity. The best part of this job is dealing with the public, even the public that doesn't like you. Where do police cars fuel up? I've never seen a police car at the gas station. Well, it depends where you are, because outside of Toronto, they are absolutely going to gas stations. They have a company card, and they pay for gas at a gas station like everybody else. OPP does it. I don't know if York has a centralized tank. In Toronto, police stations actually have our own gas pumps, and other city works come here and fill up too. So not only do we have gas pumps for police cars, but ambulances come here. I don't know where fire trucks go. They don't come here. But yeah, that's the deal. We have our own, not every station has it, but most stations have gas pumps. Josh says, good morning from Edmonton. Yeah, everybody, let me know where you're from. And if you're watching on TikTok, please like and share. I mean, everyone should like and share, but specifically on TikTok, if you quadruple tap that screen or tap until your fingers go numb, it really does change or tell the algorithm to share it with more people. And I see we've already had 4 new followers in the live stream on TikTok. So people are watching and people are joining. But yeah, if you're watching, this is how you find out next time we go live. And we do go live most weekdays from 10 a.m. Eastern time. And I keep talking about it hasn't happened yet. I've done a couple of evening live streams, but we want to make that a regular thing because we know so many people can't make it for the morning live stream. People who are ducking out of class to watch what we're doing here and, watching in reruns because this doesn't work with their schedule. So we really do want to make a regular or irregular evening show. We'll figure out when to do it. Just haven't figured it out yet. Let's see here. Oh, okay. I was just reading something from Michaela. So let's go what the show is. Had someone show up at our house at 9:30 last night. They heard the radio and saw our cameras and left. We got an alert. They didn't have a clipboard. He did seem suspicious. Should we report it? So at 9:30 at night's really late, I think. Sales calls don't generally happen. But there's a lot of people campaigning. There's a lot of people who want to sell you something. And maybe it's late. You know what? You could probably put an online report into your local police service or station. Toronto Police has a website. You can make certain reports. And it doesn't have to be a police report like I want you to show up and do something. You can simply say, just in case this is happening, I had a strange thing. I've got video if you'd like it. And if you can export it and put it up onto a sharing site or a Dropbox kind of a situation with a link, maybe they know something that's going on. They've had other complaints, and this just adds to the narrative and helps them flesh out a case. it's always good, and it can't hurt to do an online report. Someone will look at it and either decide it's worth, you know, protest pursuing it or not. Shanberry says if local police don't agree with our CMP at an event such as a protest, who actually has authority? Well, here's the thing: we're the police in charge of Toronto. Like RCMP doesn't swoop in and said, we're federal. No, it doesn't work. There's certain things that are federal and it's not our jurisdiction, but we're the Toronto Police. We're going to handle our stuff. Michaela says it looks like I have family members joining now. Joining the stream or joining the police service. Either way, welcome to your family members. I got to scroll back as things refreshed and I lost a bunch of stuff. Hang on a second here. Oh no, I found this sort of stream. What do we got here? Okay. Josh, doing me the favor of reminding everybody to put a Q in front of your question. It helps me identify questions over just dialogue. And that does happen. A lot of people get into discussions and arguments and things in the chat. So, yeah, I appreciate the Q. It just makes my life a little bit easier. Police arrested a news reporter the other day. That's Jim Cherry 271 on TikTok who's bringing that up. I saw something. I don't know the details of it, but I did see that in the media. I'm sure there was a reason for it. We don't arrest people if there aren't reasons, but I don't know the reason in that particular situation. Let's see here. Neha's answering questions. Good morning to Emma, who just jumped into the live at 10:09. So I'm doing okay. We're pretty close to being on time. What do we got here? Just looking. Oh, I see a couple of. No, I don't. I was going to say I saw a couple of questions popping in from Instagram. We have a few people there, and I apologize to those people because I can't see you unless I look exactly where I'm looking right now, which is not something I do on a regular basis. Normally, I'm looking right here at a amalgamated chat of all platforms. I got to say, Restream does it right. They take all the chat and put it in one place, and then I can put it on screen, just like I did with Emma. Were you cooking online, Emma, when I said hello? I think, yeah, because then I went out and barbecued. I saw Emma doing a live stream, and I then popped in and said, hey, and then went off and made dinner. That was last night, I think. Okay, and there's dialogue amongst them. Josh and Emma chatting. Okay. Fredson still talking about if G2 drivers can drive on the highway. I'm guessing you popped out when I spoke about it, and now you pop back in, and I've already answered it. Yes, you can drive on controlled access highways. You can tell your mom yes, and that you were right and she was wrong. Okay, what do we got here? Scrolling, looking for cues. I got charged with stunt driving. What are my odds? That's from Mathol365 on TikTok. So you got charged for stunt driving. What are your odds in what? If you pay the fine, you're pleading guilty. Well, you certainly, I got to say, you can't pay the fine. There's no set fine. You have to go to court. You have to plead guilty or innocent. If you're pleading not guilty, you have a trial. You get to present your case, or maybe they give you an offer of a deal. I would suggest going online, getting the, what is it? Actually, there's links to it on trafficcop.ca. And what we're talking about is the Defendant's Guide to POA Court in Ontario. It explains to you what you can do, what you expect, what you're going to deal with when you go to court. First appearances, set date courts, things like that. You can ask for a trial. You can get disclosure. You can find out what the case is against you. You need to know these things before you defend them. So what are the odds? I couldn't give you that kind of number. I don't know. You might want to get legal representation because the consequences of stunt driving for your first offense, if you're convicted, come with a $2,000 to $10,000 fine, a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition, in addition to what you've already had with the 14-day suspension. Then you're looking at up to 6 months in jail if they decide to do that. They don't always give jail. In fact, they rarely give jail, but it's a 6-month maximum of jail time that they can do instead of the fines and other penalties, or in addition to. So, yeah, it could get interesting for you. Good luck to you. I mean, most people don't expect to get caught and don't plan for the what happens next. Legal representation might be something, or at very least get a consultation, find out what they think your case is good for. Y Pro says hi. Hi back. Jim Glassford says, well, the cops should follow the law too, but they don't. Sure we do. What laws are you suggesting we don't follow? And of the ones that don't follow the law because they broke the law, well, they clearly broke the law and they're eligible for all sorts of bad stuff. Not only could they have internal documentations and consequences, losing pay, but they can also be charged. Like now it's called something else, but the Police Services Act, we are the most scrutinized industry in the world. Everyone is watching what we do and holds us accountable. Now, if you're talking about speeding, we're legally permitted to speed. There's an exemption under the Highway Traffic Act that says police, fire, ambulance, depending on with different circumstances, can speed. We're allowed to go through red lights if we turn our lights and sirens on and come to a complete stop first. So we're legally allowed to do that. We're allowed to use our communication devices. We can use our radios, our cell phones, our computers, because we're legally exempt. So aside from the ones I just mentioned, what laws are we breaking? Listen, if a police officer gets arrested for impaired driving, that's being held accountable. They get arrested for impaired driving. They don't get a high five and keep, there's no, I don't know where you're going. But anyway, moving on. Yeah. Nobody likes a bad cop, especially not good cops. Ethan O says, thanks. And then let's go down here. Vehicle Valley says, good morning, Mr. Shapiro. How are you this fine morning? I'm doing pretty good. I got to say that I'm doing pretty good. Now, I got no complaints. Not real ones, anyway. Other than I'd love a window, but then it would make terrible noise. Did you know that windows don't do well for microphones? Yeah, they not good. So I'm glad that my studio sounds good, but I miss seeing outside. Let's see here. Why isn't the slower traffic keep right enforced? Slower than whom? Slower than the people who are doing 130, 120, 110? It's slower than the speed limit is really what it's intended for. Everyone should be going no more than 100 kilometers an hour on a 100 kilometer an hour zone. And if you're going faster, you should be held accountable for your actions. But I will say that there is an issue, regardless of whether or not the bozos going above the speed limit are breaking the law or not. Those should stay to the right. The people going at or below the speed limit should stay to the right if they're not the fastest moving vehicle on the road. And no one should be going over the speed limit because, again, it's against the law. But it is enforced. It's just not the biggest problem because you know what? When you're speeding, you're a bigger problem than the person who's going slightly less than the speed limit. Shanberry says, he's repeating the question. If you're a local police officer who disagrees with an RCMP unit who act, well, again, I don't, what jurisdiction are you referring to? RCMP doesn't have jurisdiction in Toronto for our affairs. They don't get involved. They don't come to our stuff. So where are you talking about? Because, yeah, I'd like to know. Moving along. F1 Fanatic says 400 southbound on the middle lane is riddled with slow drivers and transport trucks causing traffic. Wow. Southbound 400 when you reach the 401 is a nightmare of people who have made last-minute decisions to mess with traffic. Yeah. I would write everyone tickets for obstructing traffic there. Like I hate driving the 404. Sorry, 400. That particular stretch at the Black Creek 401 east and west, just absolute mess. And I'm thankful I don't have to use it very often. Just terrible. People who did not plan ahead then just cut into everyone else who did plan ahead and then slow down traffic everywhere. I am surprised there are not more collisions. And I don't know how you fix that unless we had some kind of, laser system that just removed cars, like bing, 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 just for breaking laws. Obviously not a good solution. What is this? Can plainclothes officers fine you? So plainclothes officers are still police officers, can still stop you, and absolutely they can still issue tickets. Yeah, there's no. It's not the best solution because people usually look at them and say you're not a cop, and then they're wearing suits and they pull up badges. And yes, absolutely they can though. They don't give up the authority because they're not wearing the uniform. It's just not something we normally do. Levio says, okay, do you not enjoy speeding or driving fast? I absolutely do. I'm a motorcycle person, car person. I love going fast. I follow the law on the street, and on the track you can go faster. And I've been on the track because tracks are cool. And I have friends who have race teams, and I've gone to tracks. And go-karting is fun. It's not necessarily as fast, but you get the feeling of being fast. So fast is fun, but safety and lawfulness is important. So, yeah. And I have gone over the limit. In fact, as a police officer, I've gone way over the limit legally, not for no reason. There's a reason I went fast. Just for fun, doesn't qualify. Okay. MD Martin says, can you do a traffic stop with reasonable probable grounds? What would that be? With reasonable probable grounds? Can I do a traffic stop with reasonable? If you have reasonable probable grounds, you're talking about RPG likely to do with a criminal offense, not a traffic stop, because RPG is reasonable probable grounds in relation to traffic. It's not a traffic requirement. The suspicion, the belief that you've committed an offense is sufficient for laying charges when it comes to traffic offenses. When it comes to traffic stops just to stop, I can stop any car on the road just because I want to check that the license is valid of the driver, that the driver is in fact not under the influence of drugs or alcohol, just to make sure his insurance status is up to date. Like, I can stop any car anytime for those reasons. Oh, and I can also check to make sure the vehicle is safe. So that is aside. I don't need you to break any laws. I don't need you to drive silly. I don't need to see any. There's no suspicion. I just need to check it. All right. I'm going to take a call. Well, not really. I'm going to take a message right here to check with News Talk 1010. Hey, News Talk. How's it going? Are you there? We're connected, but we're not. Oh, we're hello. I got a text message from them. I'll put the gears up. In about 5 minutes, I'm guessing, we're going to join Jerry. And, of course, if you want to call control and try and get on the show, you can do that by calling 416-872-1010 or texting 71010. And guess what? When you do that, you get your question possibly put in front of the main man there, Jerry Agar, and then we'll talk about it on the air. Maybe, possibly, if you don't call, for sure you're not going to be on the air. I'm just checking my email to make sure I didn't get anything from the producer. And I didn't get anything from the producer, so we're good to go there. I did not. I just got that. I confirmed. Oh, 1 second. Why is my email not going on? Anyway, we're canceling that. Yeah, if you get a chance to do an audio check, just let me know that you're good, and I can check my levels here as well. And we'll continue to take some questions. Oh, cool. A question from John Moore. Cool. We'll talk about that when we're in. That's awesome. What are we doing here? Let's go back into flagging some stuff to talk about on the air. Okay, this is awesome. I love it. Fredzen was, is it Fredzen? Anyway, Fred was arguing with his mom about G2 drivers and to whether or not they can go on the highway, G2. And as a result, they've won a $100 bet with mom. I love it. Hey, News Talk, I hear you. I don't know if they hear me, but I hear them.
We do. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Awesome.
Coming up 1 minute here.
1 minute, we'll be ready. And for everyone who's listening, how's the audio? I want to make sure that the audio is good for you with, News Talk folks. Can you hear them? Was it too loud? Let me know, because that is important to me. In fact, I'm going to go in and check levels. I'm going to pull up X and stand by. Oh, lots of stuff here. Here we go. I'm just going to load this and see how loud it is. Okay. Actually, News Talk, can you give me just a level check? If you can give me some audio for a second, I just want to make sure you guys are coming through. Sometimes the audience says you're too
News
quiet.
Talk 1010.
Wait, try it one more time. Oh, it's a delay. Okay, here we go. We'll be ready.
Listen anytime, anywhere to News Talk 1010 Toronto through your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Jerry Agar continues on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Every couple of weeks, we dip into the Traffic Services TikTok show where Officer Sean Shapiro answers questions about traffic. It seems never ending. And since he's doing it on TikTok, I refer to him as the TikTok traffic cop. And we dip in every couple of weeks. Today would be the day. Sean Shapiro, good morning.
Good morning, Jerry.
Should I just, because you're the police officer, should I just say sir all the time?
No, we're friends. In fact, I always find it strange when people call me sir, whether they're, new recruits or sir has never really felt normal for me.
Okay. Well, if you walk up, you've pulled somebody over and you walk up, it says Shapiro. It doesn't say Sean Shapiro, right?
Right. So it
Your
was S.
sign.
Shapiro. So I usually get an
Okay.
officer or sir, and I work with it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the worst you've gotten?
The worst I've gotten, actually, I don't think anyone has done anything
Really?
impolite. Maybe
Oh,
because
that's
I'm
nice.
6'5" and 300 pounds, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Just a guess.
That could be part of it. All right. Well, every time now that I say on the morning show you're going to be on, John goes, "Oh, I got a question." So he's made himself a part of this segment, I guess. Here's his latest.
When I'm driving home, I go through the University of Toronto campus and I get to a stoplight and I'm in back of somebody who wants to turn right. And they can't because there are so many stupid pedestrians who cross even after the light expires that they can't get through. So I'm stuck. So here's what I want to know. On my left is a designated left turn lane. Can I get into that lane but still drive straight?
Oh, so there's no So technically, this is setting people up for a situation where potentially an unsafe move is taking place. If it can be done in safety, I really don't have a problem with it. But when it goes bad, then you're possibly going to be on the hook. You're in
Yeah.
a better position to wait. But I do want to bring attention to the comment about the pedestrians. It used to be that people would look left and right and take into consideration the fact that there's a string of cars there, and they understand that everything's being held up, and let someone go. It seems that no one's courteous to anyone else anymore, and it really does impact our city when it comes to the flow of traffic. So if you're a pedestrian, it would be so great if you could, see what's happening and give a
Yeah.
pause.
Well, and if as a pedestrian you would also recognize what the traffic laws are, I think the stupidest thing they ever put in was that countdown clock, because a lot of pedestrians truly believe that that's how long they have to cross the street. They don't understand that when the red hand comes up and the countdown starts, they're not supposed to enter the intersection at all. I mean, I see them come up and they look up and they say 8 seconds. Why? No, and they run across, but then the cars sit there and wait.
It's the 8 seconds I can make it, when in fact it's for people already in the intersection lawfully, giving them an idea of how much time they have to safely exit. And it's really intended for those who may have mobility issues, because they're the ones who are trying to gauge how much time. It's not I can make it in 8 seconds, so I'm going to enter the intersection.
Yeah. Well, there's another question here about the left turn lane. So I'll follow up with this one. This person writes in, if I enter a dedicated left turn lane, must I keep the left blinker on? I signaled when I left the main travel lane, got in the left lane, my signal self-canceled. Does he need to put that signal light back on, or is it obvious he's in the left turn lane?
And nothing is obvious, especially when it's darker out. Other vehicles and drivers may not realize what's happening. You are required to signal your moves, your changes in direction. And that includes when you're in a left turn lane. So yeah, absolutely reactivate that signal and leave it on until you've completed your turning movement. It's just a good habit to get into. If you're not impacting any other person on the road or any pedestrian, anybody using the road, then technically you don't need to use your signal. But you never know who you're impacting until you get pulled over for it or cause a collision.
Yeah, I think about that when I'm coming to work every day. I come along the Gardner into the city from Etobicoke, and I take the Spadina exit, and I come down. And when you come down off that ramp and come down to the light, there is no choice. You're turning left onto Spadina. There's no right turn. There's no go through. There's turn left onto Spadina. That's it. So do we all need to have our signal lights on?
For that one, you're merging on. That's not a turn so much as you're getting on, but when you start merging into the lane, you got to signal your intention.
If you want to talk to Sean and ask a question, it's 416-872-1010, 416-872-1010. Toll free, 877-518-5151, 518-5151. And you can text us at 71010. Somebody wants to know on the text board here, Sean Shapiro, why police officers leave their vehicle running even though they're away from them for some time.
So this one really drives people crazy because it's not environmentally friendly, but we have a lot of computer equipment running in that vehicle. between lighting and communications equipment that has to be left on. So we do leave them running for that reason. If we're parking, it's different. But when we know her coming back or we're monitoring things, we're actively working on the computer inside and out, we're keeping that equipment on. We may need to run back to that vehicle at any time to take off. And oddly enough, if the lights and sirens or lights and computers are on, the car may not start if we leave it off.
Well, somebody asks what the signal light responsibilities are in a roundabout.
You need to signal your intention to leave the roundabout or change lanes within the roundabout if it's a multi-lane roundabout, but you don't have to signal your entry to the roundabout. And that bothers some people because some places are teaching them they have to signal both entering and leaving. But think about the logic. The roundabout is a direct feed from the road that you're on. You're not turning to enter it. You're just following the direction of the road. When you choose to get out, you have to signal your intention to leave the roundabout.
Okay, and if I get in the roundabout and think it's fun and just go round and round and roundabout, is that okay?
There is nothing illegal about staying in the roundabout, but I would imagine you'll be eventually stopped and investigated for impaired driving.
Or sworn at by other drivers.
Well, that's a given. Roundabouts are a real strange thing. I am always playing chicken in those. And when I say chicken, I'm in the roundabout, I'm the person who's there, and I'm watching people who are not even adjusting their speed as I approach. And I'm waiting to find out if they realize that I have the right of way when I'm in it. And it is a harrowing tale every time.
All right. And I hate to go behind the curtain here, but Mark Tang, you're going to have to give me some assistance. I can't click on Leo's call here. And Leo is calling from Chatham. Thank you, Leo. What do you want?
What's exactly the law on hitting a Canadian goose?
Oh, that's a really good question. And I don't have the law in front of me, nor have I ever laid it against anyone. But I understand they're a protected species, and similar to that of the baseball story many moons ago when a baseball player hit a seagull with a baseball. There's some things that can't be avoided, and if it's a situation where you had no way of avoiding it, I can't imagine a conviction, being processed on it or charges being processed. I think you've got to do everything reasonable to avoid, but I honestly don't know the answer to your question.
All right. Thanks very much. Appreciate the call, Leo. That was Randy Johnson, I believe, the pitcher, who could throw 100 miles an hour. And I know some people will think this is disrespectful, but that seagull blew up real good.
I can't say that I saw it, but I heard lots, and I believe he was charged.
Yeah, but I don't think he was convicted.
Maybe.
He was just pitching. The bird just flew down. I mean, you've got domes. Well, even in a dome, you have birds. You have birds because they open it and then birds come in and they close it and the birds are stuck in there. And some of them live in there at the Rogers Center, I think. And so, cats and squirrels appear on baseball fields. The bird just happened to fly by as he was pitching.
And this actually brings up a question of can you hit somebody who's not on the road legally? This is a question that comes up a lot. What is the right of a pedestrian in an intersection? And, people want to know, well, if they're not allowed, if they're jaywalking, can I just hit them? And obviously the answer is no. You've got to do everything in your power to stop.
That?
Oh,
That's
you have no idea how many questions I get like that. But the deal is that you have to make every reasonable attempt to avoid collision. And when it comes to, someone jumping out last minute in front of you, obviously you can't control that. And I imagine that's the same situation when it comes to baseballs being thrown and whatnot.
Okay. Really quickly on this, because we're pretty much out of time. Apparently, somebody writes in, my wife's going to lose her license due to early onset Alzheimer's. Electric bikes don't require a license. Can she get a three-wheeled e-bike?
There are e-bikes that are available that meet the requirement and happen to have three wheels. The big thing is if they're losing their license and that is a concern for their safety, is it still safe to let them drive or ride a bicycle? I don't know. I would consult with your medical professional. No license is going to be required, but make decisions that are the best for your loved one's safety above all.
Yeah. She may have the right to do it. It might not be the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Sean Shapiro continues at Traffic Services on TikTok. Sean, as always, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, and you can get us on other platforms by going to trafficcop.ca.
This is the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Well, that is always a good time. Thank you to News Talk, as I say goodbye to them. And I'll just change the artwork, and we'll get back to stuff and things with you, because that's how this goes. I like it on top, on the bottom? I think bottom's better. Okay. Here goes. Where did I leave off? I had a whole bunch of. I was actually expecting to be asked questions about what are people asking online, and I was ready. I had some stuff flagged, and then I didn't actually go to it. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. Watching from Kingston, J Rock. What's going on? So I can send a screen record. Okay. So now, Fred, go to YouTube. If you go to youtube.trafficcop.ca, you go to our channel. This is available there. You can actually get the entire episode and send a link or screen record or however rip it. But rather than telling you again what I said, if you want to replay it, that's the way to go. And Josh says exactly that. I love the good advice. Josh has become like an unofficial moderator / producer in the audience. I appreciate your help, Josh. Okay. We were talking about, here's one about vehicles with loud exhausts. And by the way, Janet Millington, good morning to you. I will go back to what I was saying, reading from Julie. Vehicles with loud exhaust concern in Thorncliffe Park. Question. Feel we do not get a lot of police in our area. Is there a way we could get the police more often in this area? Well, Julie, what I would suggest you do is go online to the Toronto Police website, tps.ca. On there, you can make traffic reports, either about individual vehicles or about behavior in the area, and cite your concerns. Let them know that you're having a major problem with sound, but this is actually a problem across the city. It's one of the number one complained about issues on our roads, and we're aware we can't be everywhere, and we do prioritize things based on saving lives and on down. If it's an issue, there are officers in each division that do focus on traffic complaints and would be able to help you out if all is going well. That being said, there's a lot of people asking for a lot of help, so I'm sure even the people who respond to complaints are pretty busy. But definitely put the report in. Okay. We got a question a request from Jay Costa, who says, "Good morning, Sean. Question, please talk about impaired drugs or alcohol. Very dangerous. I talk about this stuff all the time. Obviously, impaired driving is a major problem. No one should be behind the wheel if you've been using drugs or alcohol. And people always say, well, how much can I have? How soon after I smoke? How many drinks can I get away with?" And that, unfortunately, is the wrong attitude, in my opinion. 0 is the best. Trying to figure out how much you can have to be only a little bit tipsy. No, if you are even considering having alcohol, you are putting yourself in a position of risk. And anyone and any amount of alcohol could result in impairment because everyone handles alcohol differently. So I can't say that one drink you'll be safe, because one drink might be good for you and not good for somebody else. And 2 drinks might be good for some and not for somebody else. So the best is no drinks. There are legal limits that have different consequences. When you hit 0.05 or 0.049, you'd be legally permitted to drive according to the law, but you could be impaired and being all over the road, where you could still find yourself being charged for impaired driving based on your behavior. So there's no perfect answer of what you can have and what you can't have, which is usually what people want to know about. And I think that Jay Costa really wants to talk about the fact that it's dangerous, period. And you should take advantage of all these wonderful opportunities in a city like Toronto to make alternate arrangements. Either don't drive, have a designated sober person. You notice I didn't say designated driver, because that title seems to tell people that as long as they're the most sober person, they can drive, and that's not the. You should have someone who's absolutely sober, not the least drunk. Okay, which is what I meant to say. Aiden says hello to you. Cathrilia, did I say that right? Cathrilia says good morning. Boom, boom, boom. Do you like more than the sound? Oh. Okay, moving along. Oh, I got you now. I know who everybody is. And although my timing was off, Jerry from Michaela. Tweep X says, how's everybody going? Thanks, by the way, for all the feedback, letting me know that the sound was good after a while. Because so I think the sweet spot is when I bring them down to, what I bring them down to? 34. That's what I had News Talk 1010 set to. 34. I'll remember that for later. I'm going to actually write it down. 34. All right. We got Joyce, who says, so Joyce says, question, good morning, PC Shapiro. You may know about being drunk on spirit and not drunk on wine. Well, I experienced a heavy onset of what some thought I was drinking, but I wasn't. And the strength of the entity had me concerned as to people driving while under the influence of spirit. How could an officer possibly comprehend someone trying to explain that they haven't been drinking and yet the symptoms are similar to the effects of alcohol? I don't know how to respond to that. The influence of spirit. If you're talking about, I don't know what we're talking about here. So I better not delve into it because I need you to explain to me what we're talking about before I make comment on it. But interesting, and I would look forward to having more conversation on that topic so I can truly understand. Let's move on. Let's see here. Stay Mad wants to know if this is actually live or if it's a loop. Well, based on the fact that I just read your question, it is live. It is not a loop, although I have in the past replayed things. I'm usually very clear about the fact that it's a loop. This is live. Okay, and Josh said, this is live. See Josh doing that whole producer thing, earning that producer credit. If anyone knows what I'm talking about when I say producer credit, they may be watching a pod or listening to a podcast I listen to, and they issue real producer credits for people who, anyway, it's a long story. Value for value models. Someone wants to know if cops hate people named Justin. I don't get into politics. I really don't. I get into a lot of things, but I don't get into politics. And we'll just keep it moving. Hang on a second. Boom, boom, boom. I didn't know if News Talk was hanging out. They're inside they're still connected. Just letting you know, we know you're here. But if you're hanging out, you're welcome to. Let's see here. Endless Talks wants to know if a cop can lead you away in their personal vehicle. Is that like a voodoo thing, like make you follow me? What do you mean? We don't generally pull people over in our personal vehicles, although it's happened. I've dealt with situations where children were not properly wearing seatbelts, and I did intervene even though I was off duty in my personal vehicle. But what does lead you away mean? Like, hey, follow me. I've got candy somewhere? What do you mean? I don't get it. Moving along. Pulled over for no signal, never heard of it, and I should have. Sorry, you pulled over for not signaling or having no signals on your vehicle? Both would be an issue. You are legally required to signal your intention to change lanes or change direction movements. If you don't signal, you would get a ticket. If you haven't gotten a ticket and you don't signal, that is pure luck on your part. I've charged a lot of people for that because it's important to be safe on the road. All right. Oh, fun fact. In Alberta, we are required to signal entering and leaving. Cops will pull you over. So this is Josh talking about the fact that roundabouts in Alberta require you to signal in and out, which I think is odd. I really do. I mean, you can't hurt by signaling all the time, but interesting. Josh responds to Dylan saying, it never happens. No one signals in Alberta, which is odd. Okay. Frozen Blueberry says morning, and it is technically still morning. Let's see. This is Bubs who wants to know if it's legal to make a U-turn in an intersection. It's unpredictable and dangerous. Depends on the intersection. If there's no left turn lane, I would say that's a really bad idea because now you're obscuring or obstructing traffic as well. And I've seen it happen all the time. There are so many better options than U-turns. U-turns are dangerous. I know driving instructors have disagreed with me, but they are dangerous. They're the highest chance of becoming involved in a collision. So turns put you in an at-fault situation, whether it's a left turn or a U-turn, or you're making a movement into the path of other vehicles, and it's a problem. So is it legal? Yeah, generally it is. If there's no sign prohibiting it, if there's clear view, if it's not on a curve, if it's not in front of a tunnel, bridge, viaduct, railway crossing, it's not prohibited, but it could be dangerous, and then you'd still be at fault. Oh, this is in discussion about Jerry's comment about the animals, and Tweep says there was nothing the animal could, or nothing the pitcher could have done. Not their fault. It's happened more than once, though. Wasn't there one where it was done intentionally? Anyway. Love the roundabout comment about signaling to exit. It's my pet peeve. Yes. I have many pet peeves, as it turns out. What is the law on having loud sound systems in cars? Having the system's not against the law. Using the sound system on the road could be, and could be a situation or a problem off road as well. But under the Highway Traffic Act, we're only interested in the on-road use. And unnecessary noise, whether it's coming from your stereo or your exhaust, is a problem. It's the real deal. So it's a $110 fine for unnecessary noise. And I put a video up on TikTok recently where it was, in fact, such a situation that people's hair was levitating or vibrating, and it was wild. Pep says, what drives me nuts is the car in front of you that has no lights on at nighttime. Is there a fine for that? Yeah, improper headlights, improper taillights. Absolutely, you have to have your lighting system on. Half an hour before sundown until half an hour after sun up. That's the deal, and $110 fine for not doing that. So, yes. Yakes 101 says, why are the police so tight on car meets but not on cars being stolen? Well, we're tight on everything, but we see the dum-dums doing the car meets and breaking the law in front of us on private property, on roads, putting lives at risk. Absolutely a major problem, and we're trying to stop it because it's not lawful, it's not safe, it's legit problem. The stolen stuff is happening in the dead of night. It's happening when we're not there, when people are crowding into it's a totally different situation. Now you have a responsibility to try and dissuade criminals from taking your stuff, and you do that by installing equipment, or it's that SEPTED thing where you park in a good lit area. Maybe you don't leave valuables inside the vehicle. Maybe you use a relay, or to avoid relay thefts. You use a Faraday pouch or bag or box. That you use a device for locking the steering, for locking the brake pedal. Anything you can make your vehicle less attractive to thieves, because chances are, just like locks keep honest people out, if bad guys want it, they're going to take it, but they want to do as little work as possible because they're lazy plugs. And if they are going to steal your car and work for it, they're going to steal your car and work for it, even if they bring a flatbed truck and just, hoist it up, because they buy tow trucks. So you do what you can do, but at some point, they're going to do what they do. Alarm systems that were very popular when I was a kid growing up seem to have faded away, and we've just sort of accepted that your car makes, a horn goes off when you open the door without unlocking it properly. But I used to have a sensor that if you walked up to the car, it started to say, get away. It actually had a chip. It talked out of a speaker, and it had a countdown timer until it started making noises. Heck, it used to page me when people touched the car. So there are things that you can do to prevent these thefts, or at least work to try and prevent. And it's different. We can't sit on your street and watch it. And some people are putting private security on their street. They're personally funding that. But we're totally different things. One's public safety, one is car theft, and we can't be everywhere all the time. Distracted driving question from Tommy on TikTok, and wants to know, can we use the phone for GPS? And the answer is yes. In Ontario, there's an exemption for GPS use on the phone. But I got to tell you, it does not mean that you can play with the screen and set your destination while you're driving. It is very specifically a set it and forget it situation. You have to mount the phone. You can have that display screen visible to you while you're driving. Otherwise, you can't. So set it and forget it. I will tell you this. Secret hack. No, it's not a hack. Everyone should know this. Audio commands. The only way to set a destination with a GPS once you're driving, if the GPS is on your phone, is to actually use verbal commands, to say the hey, SIRI, or Google or whatever, plot a course to this, and it'll do it. It's amazing that way. But don't touch the phone. Okay. Speed cam got me going 52 in a school zone on a holiday Monday during 40K. Oh, sorry, it's 40 kilometers an hour during a school. Okay. So you got a ticket for doing 12 over the posted speed limit on a holiday. Okay, but it's the speed limit. You're not allowed to break the speed limit because it's not busy on Tuesdays between 1 and 3. It's the speed limit. So don't speed. 12K is unacceptable speeding. Shocking, I know. You shouldn't speed. That's my thoughts. It's a simple one, I know. And school zones are double fines. So really don't speed there. I will tell you this. There's no points or consequences against your driver's license, so you get the lesson without the bite. So Josh had said you cannot have the screen turned on which is actually incorrect. You can have this screen turned on for the GPS. George Casey says, or is it Cassie? Either way, George says, great show on News Talk 1010. Thank you very much. Jerry makes it easy. Actually, I have a lot of fun with Jerry. He's a good guy. Have you watched Allegiance? It was shot in my hometown. I have not. I've never heard of it. But let's make a note because I will Google it. What's the hometown? Where is it shot? I want to know. Okay, Jay made comments there. Can police enforce blinding headlights, not necessarily high beams, but regular headlights? Yes, if they're improperly aimed, if they're too strong, they can certainly result in charges under the Highway Traffic Act, and rightfully so. Many dealerships are actually releasing vehicles onto the road after they do their PDI, and they're not directing the headlights properly. So please, dealerships, make sure it's right. And if you get your vehicle home and it's a new one, or you buy one, or whatever car you currently own, go check to make sure your vehicles are falling within the guidelines. They're doing it properly. Hello, Sarge. We have a visitor. Well, not really a visitor. We have a regular who just missed a regular visitor who missed the whole show. The start, the middle, but we luckily we don't have to wrap up. We can keep going. So
Just catching the end.
that's good. The end is the best part sometimes.
How are things?
It's good. How's things with you?
Things are good. Things are good. Busy.
It has been strangely busy lately, which is good. It means, well, it's good and it's bad. We've been talking about stuff and things, oddly enough.
Really?
Yeah.
You normally do that.
It's okay. It's not that shocking, I know. Can I video record someone harassing me and show it to the police to obtain a restraining order? Well, if someone's harassing you, video evidence is probably a good thing.
Absolutely.
And certainly you're within your right. If you're in a one-on-one confrontation, pulling out your phone and focusing on anything other than defending yourself could be problematic because you want to be aware of your surroundings. But video is a good thing to have.
And if somebody's harassing you, you must feel harassed, which means that the typical thing you would do is move away.
Yes,
Get away from
disengage.
that person. So yes, video is great. Video is great to help identify, but make sure you're safe first.
Yeah, disengaging is a really important part of any of these things, like leaving and they're still following you and you leaving. If you stay to confront the person who's harassing you, you may not be being harassed the way you think. It may not look as good for you. Your evidence may hurt you, not help you. Leaving the scene is the best thing to do. Okay. Yes, many people don't realize that you can manually angle the lights downward. We were talking about super high and bright lights, and can we enforce that? Then it was a reminder to all to make sure your headlights are aimed correctly, and that if your vehicle is loaded, we didn't talk about this, loaded with heavy weights in the back, if you don't have automatic leveling headlights, that could be a temporary problem.
Yeah. In fact, one of my cars is a Toyota that has the LED headlights, and you put some weight in it, you put 5 people in the car, they do definitely shine higher. I know vehicles like Subarus, they have the automatic leveling one. Some other higher end cars do it as well. That's fantastic.
Yes, it is very nice. And it freaks me out a little bit when I see the headlights doing this up and down wavy because it resets sometimes when you start the car. It does a little jog. Yep. It's just weird. Tommy says, can I videotape officers when they pull me over?
Sure.
We have video cameras. You have video cameras. Everyone's got cameras. It's just recording what happens.
As long as you're not focused on just videoing and not complying with your obligations under the Highway Traffic Act or the Criminal Code. So just sitting there going, I'm not doing anything. I'm recording you. I'm recording you. That won't fly.
No, you still have to comply with the lawful direction of a police officer, and not complying can, well, make things not so good for you. And especially if you're in the process of being arrested. There's a certain point when, yes, your right to videotape things ends because now you're being forced to comply with an arrest where you're not going to have your ability. We're going to take your phone. We're going to put it in a property bag for you. At a certain point, our cameras are going to take over. And here's the thing. We don't edit, stop. We can't edit. It all has to be marked a certain way. Yep. So you're going to get your video. It just won't be on your phone.
And if you request video from the Toronto Police anyways, even if you didn't record, under the Freedom of Information, you can get a copy of it.
Yes.
Takes a little bit of time, but you can get a copy of all of our interactions.
Yeah, and if you are in fact charged, or whether it be criminally or under the Highway Traffic Act, you can make requests in court for that, because you're entitled to see what the case is against you, and all that stuff becomes disclosable. So you don't have to worry about using your precious data. we're gonna give it to you. We got a hello from Sarnia, and by the way, that message I just put up said we're about 15-20 minutes behind in questions, so please be patient. If we are not talking about your stuff, we will be soon. That being said, we're ready after the regular show, but since you showed up, we'll keep it going for a
Okay,
little bit.
let's do a little bit more.
If I crashed into a moose due to a maple syrup spill, will I be liable in BC because I was watching hockey? You got a lot of things going on there. This is from Blister in the Moon. I like your sense of humor. All right. And what is this? Oh, Josh says it depends if you were on a Tim's run or no.
A. Got to say the A at the end.
A?
A.
With an A? I guess it was with an A. I never say
That
A.
makes it
I don't think I
Canadian.
say A.
A.
Is it illegal to have yellow fog lights?
No.
It's not even illegal to have yellow headlights, because
Nope.
you can have yellow or white. And someone got into the weeds saying, well, yellow's not legal. It says amber. Well, yellow and amber, it's kind of the same color and a different intensity. Like, it's a different shade of the same. It's the same color.
Right. It is the same color. Amber is a little more reddish hue, maybe, but yes. The intent of having yellow headlights is they're originally called fog lights. They were not the original driving lights. And that's so that you don't see the glare coming back to you on the fog. When you can't see through, you can actually pierce through it. I use a yellow visor on my snowmobile helmet when I'm riding in the snowmobile. And it cuts down the glare coming back at you, but you can still see very clearly. And when the light goes down, the yellow light that's coming through, because the white light from my headlight is being bounced back and I can see it, but it's being filtered to yellow. I can see where the headlight hits much, much better, but everything outside the headlight is very, very dark.
So blue blockers, remember them?
Blue blockers, the same thing.
Blue blockers were
Yep.
yellow tinted, amber tinted, sunglassy thing, and they were phenomenal. They were all the craze. Every drugstore I've seen on TV, blue blockers.
Yeah, you know what? They're actually pretty good for driving at night.
Yes.
They really are.
What is the actual speed on the 401? When I go 105, people fly by on the left lanes.
Yeah, no kidding. The actual speed?
100 kilometers an hour. Is there there's zones that are 110?
On the
Is it
401,
no? I don't know. I've never found them, but I'm told there are.
404 for sure, 417 up in Ottawa for sure. I don't think on the 401.
So 401 is just 100? Wow. Everyone does 140. I can't even keep track of them. They pass me like I'm not moving.
Yeah. They pass police cars doing that.
It's ridiculous. This morning I had someone on the southbound 404 on the HOV lane that popped out of the HOV lane, past the car that was in the HOV lane doing above the speed limit, and then cut back in right away. It was like an F-250 with long pieces of metal going from the rear bed over the cab of the truck. It was really like, if you take stupid and then you multiply it by 5, that's what this person was, because they were putting so many people at risk by their behavior. It was erratic passing through traffic. They were obviously late for a job, but it was just so bad. Such a bad example.
So maybe a marked departure or a careless
stunt
drive?
driving, careless driving.
Yep.
I like that. I'd love to write more tickets. I haven't written some in a long time. Any plans to tackle Brampton and Saga drivers? We're Toronto police. And you know, people travel into Toronto. So if bad drivers from anywhere, period, come to Toronto, we definitely tackle bad drivers.
I hear that a lot. I
don't know why they have such a bad reputation.
I don't know.
Maybe it's Toronto drivers driving in Mississauga and Brampton.
Could be.
Yeah, I think a lot of that.
Maybe it's just volume. Maybe it's
that's
just
possible.
so busy there that, and there's an awful lot of commercial industry goes on in Brampton, Mississauga, that maybe it's a combination.
What is this? Stop in nonstop. Let's see here. Stop in nonstop zone for school bus in my right, and I had to turn left coming from T intersection. I am not understanding what we're talking about. Do you?
Maybe there's probably a previous portion of that.
Maybe.
I would imagine.
But
Tell me what you're talking about, and we'll see what we can do.
Roseanne wants to know, solid and double lines, when is it not illegal to pass on solid and double lines? So we talk about this a lot. In Ontario, We are the weirdos who have a strange law or lack of a law
Yep.
in that it is not against a lot of cross lines, whether they're solid or dotted. They do convey a message. The color of the line and the solid or checkered display means that this is not a good place to pass, and you should probably follow that instruction, but it's not against the law. And if you decide to go out on your own, you can't be charged for crossing the line, but when you smash into the car coming the other way, you are responsible.
100% responsible for any actions that you take in an oncoming lane. But just because the yellow line is there, and if you don't know, yellow line means that if you cross it, the traffic is coming towards you, and white line on the road means that the traffic should be flowing in the same direction that you're going. So if you cross a yellow line into oncoming traffic, you're responsible for everything you do out there and the safety of everybody that's on there. So they're clues, and they're pretty good that maybe you're not able to see over a bend,
Yes.
a hill, a crest of grade. Now there are actual certain ones where you cannot pass another vehicle.
Because of that crest of grade where there's no visibility or there's a
Bridge,
curve. Yeah.
viaduct, curve. There are certain ones that are in the HCA that are actually named where you can, and there's a certain distance, or where it's signed.
Mm-hmm,
can't do
absolutely. Those signs have authority, but the painted line doesn't. Daily Q wants to know, if a pedestrian bangs on my car or side, can I retaliate? What exactly would you do to retaliate? They shouldn't be doing what they're doing, but you can't then get out and punch them in the face. That's not an appropriate use of force. You would be held criminally responsible for something like that.
Could they be held criminally responsible for damaging the side of your car?
Sure they could.
Sure they could. It'd be mischief.
Yeah. But mischief under 5,000, you don't have. Well, would they have the authority? No, they wouldn't have authority to to arrest. If they were on your property, but not in your car, it doesn't count. Different. That's where I'm having the juggle. On private property, you would have the authority to arrest them if it was your property that you were representing as the property representative or owner.
Right.
Yes. Anyway, don't arrest people. It's more trouble than it's worth. Call the police. Get good video. If you have dash cam video, this is where things like what do you call those, Teslas, are amazing with their video cameras in all directions. You can see everything. We've seen video where someone comes up and attacks a car, but you're just attacking a car. Stay in your car. That's the best advice I can give you. Funniest, strangest excuse you've had for someone speeding. I know some of the best jokes about people speeding.
The one we get all the time is, I got to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's maybe worked on me the first time when I was a rookie cop, but yeah, I should have thought about that.
Plan better.
Yeah.
Go before your mom told you. My mom told me, try.
What else?
My favorite joke is that my wife left me a year ago for a cop, and I thought you were him trying to bring her back. That's my favorite one I've heard. Or I'm a vampire and I need to get home before the sun goes up. I've heard that one as a joke, not in actual.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I have to poo is the verbiage that was used with me once. And I followed them to the bathroom with their license already secured and let them do what they had to do. And then I gave them the ticket when they got out of the bathroom. There's no real good, strange excuses. There's no excuse.
There's absolutely zero excuse for speeding.
Or any other offense, truly. What are the various positions available to police officers? So many.
Are you talking as a police officer itself? I don't think there's another career that has such a variety of things to do than this career. I have been undercover. I've been plainclothes. I've been in an investigative office. I've been uniform. I've been a supervisor. I now, as a police officer, run contracts and deal with legal and procurement and I never thought in a million years that I would be doing this as a police officer, but that's now part of my job. I'm social worker. I'm everything.
Yeah, and I'm a TikTok, social media relations. On top of everything else, never would I've expected to do this.
Everybody starts at the same. Everybody starts as a recruit, learning the basics, and from there in uniform, they work their way whatever way they want to go. I ended up down here at traffic. I'm a vehicle kind of guy. I could have gone to the Marine unit because I'm a boat kind of guy as well. I have boats and jet skis and stuff like that. But I love cars. I love vehicles, and that's what drew me to here. I love the investigative part of everything to do with with policing and cars. So this was a good fit for me.
And if you look at the organizational chart, which I've never done on the show before, there's a lot of different sections and areas, and this is not really going the way. Can I press view and see it? No, it's not working for me. But essentially, there's lots of divisions, there's lots of specialties, there's lots of things you can get into: dog services, homicide, ETF tactical stuff, the Marine unit, the mounted unit, motor squad with it, well, traffic services, traffic investigation, PRU within PRU or from the divisions. They have all sorts of subsections at detectives' offices and youth bureaus. Like there's never
Neighborhood officers,
yeah,
street crimes, fraud units.
there's tons, financial crimes, yeah. And that's as a police officer, but we have special constables that work in courts, transportation, like prisoner transportation. That's where I started. I worked in courts, not prisoner transportation, but we have booking officers now. So that's under the special constable role. And by the way, we are hiring special constables right now. If you're interested in joining the police service, but don't want to be a police officer necessarily, be like this officer, a special constable. And there's tons of things. Courthouse security is another function, which is what I really did the most of as a court officer, now
And
called a
so
special
did
constable. This is a booking officer here. And they have a video. You can go check it out. And fantastic career opportunity. Parking enforcement officer is another great opportunity. They keep the city moving. Communications operator, I believe they're currently taking applications for that. Auxiliary officer is a volunteer role. Civilian roles, there are many. And I'll pull that up because we can look at them. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong screen. No, I clicked on the right screen. Manager of talent acquisition, special constable, senior programmer Java.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, apparently not. Senior analyst, capital projects, workplace investigator, equity, inclusion, and human rights. That's been up over a while, I think. Analyst, research, and evaluation. We've got communications operator and developer team. So there's lots of opportunities, and some of them are IT based, and others are completely outside of the regular policing expectation. But you should send your friends to our website. You should peruse our website and see if there's something that looks good for you, because I'm sure there's a fit for something here, because we do good stuff. What do we have here? We got lots of conversation. Is auxiliary something I can do in the summer? I pressed on the wrong thing. Here we go. We'll fix it. Is auxiliary something I can do in the summer before applying for policing? So the process for auxiliary is pretty in depth. In fact, there's like 8 weeks of training, weekends and evenings. I did that before I became a court officer, before I became a police officer. The best volunteer opportunity ever. If you are planning on applying in 6 months to be a police officer, I wouldn't join the auxiliary. They want you like for 1 or 2 years. I think it was 2 years at one point that they wanted you to be committing to the program, because they're going to spend money to put you in uniform, spend money to train you. By the time you get comfortable doing it, you're planning on leaving the police auxiliary to go become a police officer. You're kind of wasting resources, and I don't think they'd appreciate that. But you never know. I remember while I was going through the process of becoming a court officer, they said, we're taking applications now. It was a hiring freeze. But then they'd given me an offer for a court officer, and I said, I'm going to do this because I don't want to jump ship 10 seconds after I got hired. And then it took me 12 years to make the switch, whereas other people I know, did the switch right away.
Like me.
Yeah.
I was a year and a bit, but I was hired back in the Bob Ray days in the early 90s, and nobody was hiring police officers, but they were hiring court officers, and that's where I started as well.
And one of my friends who got the tour of the cells before we got our job offers, he never came back. He went to PC. He's now an inspector. But we sat in a cell. We were cellmates for 10 seconds when we were being told, can you work in this environment? Give you an idea of what to expect. He's a great guy, and he made a decision that worked for him. And maybe I should have done that too. But I have made so many good friends as a court officer, and it was a really great job. And I was 25. It was a great way to start and get an introduction to law enforcement that was not policing specifically. What's the maximum age to join? In my class, there were people that were 50, 52, I think was the oldest person at the time that became a police officer. So, yeah.
You're only as old as you feel.
And I don't think there's an actual cutoff
We
anymore.
have police officers here. One I know of that's a senior officer, and he's senior because
citizen?
he's a senior citizen as well.
He's a senior citizen.
He's well into his 70s. So,
Are pepper guns illegal? So these are, My brother is in the States, and he has one, and they're legal there. Pepper guns, they shoot a pepper ball. Pepper products and like that are intended for use against animals, not persons. So a pepper gun here, I'm assuming, would be illegal. Although I don't know if it's specifically defined.
So I would say as well, it depends how you use it. If the gun itself shoots is 470 feet per second, I think is the firearm cutoff. So if it's above that, and I'm just going by memory,
I thought it was 550.
so
But either
there
way.
you go. If it is above that, then it is a firearm in itself, no matter what it shoots, and then they would be unlawful. You'd have to be licensed for them. They could be restricted, prohibited. But it all depends on how you use it. Is it legal to use a knife? Well, if you stab somebody with it, it certainly is. But if you're cutting your apple, then no, it's not. So most likely it's in the use of it. If you're carrying it for the purposes of going on a hike through a national park, and it is there to stop, bears and coyotes and wolves and stuff like that,
Different situation.
it's probably reasonable and lawful.
Oddly enough, Burno, which is the product that my brother has, is available. They have a .ca, and they've got a section under legality which quotes the criminal code, which I'm just reading, and it doesn't give me enough of a definition to make me say it's good. They have a muzzle velocity of 152 meters per second, which doesn't help me because I think in feet, 2.2. So either way, it's under 500. It may be legal to own, but you're going to be held criminally responsible for its use. And that's really what the Sarge was saying earlier. So interesting discussion. I don't think we've talked about this product before.
If you pull that out, because it does look like a firearm, and you represent it as a firearm, or somebody believes it's a firearm, guess what? It becomes a firearm.
And if you pull it out and the person you're going to use it against has a firearm, you might get shot, whether it be a police officer
I was going to say like us.
Yeah, whether it's a police officer or a member of the public or the criminal public, because most people don't carry guns except police and bad persons who aren't legally allowed to have it. Shout out to Brinks and all the nice people who do carry guns in performance of their duties. But there's a lot of questions that come into play when you start getting involved with self-defense. People say, well, I'll carry a knife. Well, that's great. But when you get disarmed from that knife, the knife is used against you. All these things have to be thought of. And getting some self-defense training, I will tell you that having had training in martial arts and all these things, the best thing you can do is disengage and not get involved. Avoiding the fight altogether is still the best option. Not as a police officer, we're not allowed to.
Right. If you carry a knife for self-defense, guess what?
It's a weapon.
It's a weapon.
A knife is a piece of cutlery unless you're using it for a particular purpose and then concealing it. All these things come into play. We have really gone off the track of what we normally talk about. But I do like going down these paths because it's so interesting and people have real questions, want to know the answers. Maybe there's an opportunity with somebody within the service who specializes in firearms and things like that to come talk about this. We do a special episode.
Yeah.
Dude, where's my car? I don't know. Is that a movie reference or is that a?
I might have seen that movie.
I might have seen that movie. And now Drew may be referring to their car was stolen. A lot of people losing their cars. It's a really it's a hot topic, and oddly enough, Dr. Curtis Love says that's exactly the product I'm talking about. Actually, I added the exactly, but ad-libbing there. It is 11:23. We have some jokes. Maybe we should pop into that. Is there any shows we should jump into? Messi or Ronaldo, Mr. OPP? Well, Mr. OPP, we're not OPP. We're Toronto Police. But Messi or Ronaldo? Do you soccer?
I don't soccer.
I don't soccer. I think that
or football.
The only thing that I can tell you about Ronaldo is that he was the subject of one of the most viral videos to ever hit the internet, where he was done up with makeup to look like an older person, and he went in a town square. Was playing soccer with people trying to get them to go, and of course no one knew who he was, and he revealed himself after, and it was pretty epic.
I've seen a couple of videos where basketball players do the same thing.
Right on.
Yep.
Scrolling back to see if we have anything else, and then we'll get into some jokes. Don't know what this is. 500 feet per second. I thought I don't. So it is 500 feet. Where did I get 550?
495. I thought it was 470 for some reason. Maybe that's the barrel length.
So it's 500 feet per second is once you hit 500 feet per second, it's a firearm. So that's why they're all 495 max.
I got to look up 470. Can anybody tell me what 470 is with regards to firearms? I know it's somewhere there. Maybe I'm dating myself.
Jainter? This is a repeat question. I did answer it, actually. Maybe you ducked away and came back. But the question was, speed camera got me doing 52 in a school zone on holiday Monday, 40 kilometers during school day time. Here's the deal.
Yep.
It's 40 kilometers all the time, not just on weekends. Not just on school days. It is the school zone means it's double fines. It's a place that people assume is safe. And the speed limit is set based on the audience that they're usually dealing with.
And the fact that they have designated, the province has designated, because the township would make application to designate it as a community safety zone. Because of that, they've shown why it should be, and that's why they're allowed to put a camera there. Now, you did say that it's 40 all the time. There are certain areas of the province that have school zones that
Yes.
say 50 kilometers an hour or 40 kilometers an hour when flashing.
So you say here in the comment during school day time, maybe that's a conditional situation. Because my original response is you shouldn't be speeding because speeding is illegal. And if it's 40 all the time, it's 40 all the time. If you're in a situation that you live in an area where that street is conditional, I imagine that they wouldn't put a camera there. But if they did, they must be taking into consideration that, and it might be an anomaly that the holiday wasn't counted. And you may have a defense if that's I've just never heard of that. I don't know any location that has a speed camera and is a conditional time.
I'm not aware of it. They're definitely not in Toronto, but
No.
you never know.
That is true. Comment from Miss Pep. Is it Mrs. Pep? This show is informative. Thank you. Well, you're very
You're
welcome. We're really glad to be able to do this for you, and that's what we do. We help people answer questions, and this is community policing virtually. We're in the greater social media.
It's what we
verse.
used to do, but we're just making it bigger and reaching more people.
Yeah,
We
and-
used to get this much of the public. We used to go to shows. We used to community events. Now we are doing it for everybody.
I apologize to Brandon. This was the first question of the day that I said,
Okay.
I'm going to flag it and come right back to it. And that was an hour and 27 minutes ago. The Guelph police vehicles have synchronized lights for when they're all on scene together. Do you think TPS should have the same? So we actually have lights that have the ability to have a module put in them to do the synchronization, and we opted not to synchronize. I don't know why.
Money, probably.
It's probably money. Small
Although-
services can do amazing things.
Although we are trialing out some electronic flares.
Yes.
So currently we use flares. We light them on fire. We put them down on the road to direct you for a certain direction or where the road is closed or emergency situation. We now are trialing some lights. They're working, but kind of working. That can be kind of tethered together, and they will flash in sequence to direct you out of a lane or into a lane or around something. So we're working with that. Guelph, good for you guys. Everything that you can do to make yourself safer or make the public safer, perfect.
Yes.
We have way too many cars, and we don't.
Oh, this is true. I mean, there are so many things we can't have. We have too many people. We spend a lot of anything we do for one, we have to do for all, and that's a big dollar amount. Stay Mad says, are the charges for car rallies applicable to car meets? Rally meet, it's not about what we call it. It's about the activity taking place when you're at it. So if you're stunt driving, if you're putting lives at risk, if you're breaking stunt driving laws or any laws for that matter, you're breaking laws. That's what you're being charged for. A bunch of people hanging out, showing off their cars lawfully where they're allowed to be and not breaking any laws are absolutely welcome.
Exactly. And you know what? Car rallies, for what people are calling it for, absolutely the worst idea ever. Just absolutely inconsiderate and ignorant. Now, that being said, I used to own a 71 Mustang Mach 1.
Nice.
And I used to take it out to the car shows with me. And, you know, there was a good event. Everybody would line up, have something to eat, and chat with people, like-minded people, loved cars. It was wonderful until the end of the night when they all pulled out. And it seemed like everybody had this idea that it was totally lawful to do the burnout at the end of the drive or just launch it down the road. And you know what? Our local constabulary used to hang out down the road a little bit, and people would get caught. And it's just dumb behavior because there were so many people there. There were so many pedestrians there. Why would you do it there?
Because everyone's hopped up on happy. Like
Yeah.
they're all excited to show off their car, and I get it, but that's not the place. You know, there's a car show that was on forever and ever at Bathurst and Steeles in on the north side of the road. And every Sunday they'd have classic cars, and it was all people bringing out their beautiful machines. And those cars are expensive to fix, and they're people labors of love, and nobody did stupid stuff there because no one wants to fix what they break when they do these things. You want the car to last forever and not cost you a lot of money that you haven't already invested into making it perfect. So that's one of those respectful places. It was a church parking lot. Nobody was doing anything wrong, and it was kept on for years and years. I wonder if they're still meeting there. Anyway, my point is, it's different than that's a car show.
Yep.
And when you go to an event where you're leaving rubber on the asphalt in the parking lot, no one wants to fix that. That's actually damaging property. And no one wants you spinning around, smacking into the poles. Or the really dumb stuff is when everyone gets into a circle around people who are drifting in a circle and spins around, and then people run after the car in the midst of it. It is the video evidence of the level of stupid is shocking.
Darwin has a theory on that.
Yes, I am aware.
We're making it too safe for Darwinism to occur.
To do its thing.
We're talking car shows, same thing as bike events, bike meets, stuff like that. I've been down to Port Dover in Ontario on Friday the 13th. It's a great event, but most people, 99.9% of the people, treat it as a bike meet event, party, like-minded people, and you get that 0.1% who just drives like an absolute. Yeah.
I've got a dad joke from Michaela.
Okay.
But you had a dad joke last week that really got me. And I
And
do
I
you
can't
remember it?
remember it. I was trying to think it.
Something about one of those. Do you remember it?
I do.
Okay. Here, let's. You put it together. I'll read Akila's joke.
Oh, yeah.
Was it? It was
See, I'm trying to think of what it was.
something about this. I think.
Yep.
Okay. First off, Akila Jaconas with the dad joke. I accidentally played dad instead of dead when a bear attacked. Now I can ride a bike without training wheels. Now it can ride a bike without training. Oh my God, it's terrible. I'm reading it. I read it wrong. It was great. I screwed it up. So for those that didn't hear me screw it up, I accidentally played dad instead of dead when a bear attacked. Now it can ride a bike without training wheels. That was good, and I messed it up. Neha has a dad joke. Did you hear the rumor about butter? Well, I'm
No.
not going to spread it. That's good.
I like it.
I do.
I like it.
And you remember yours now?
No, I'm.
It's like I remember words from within it.
Yep.
And laughing about it, but I don't remember the joke. So I would say we could do a little dance while we wait, but we aren't going to. Let's see. Let's scroll down and see if anything has popped up. Many messages of Eid Mubarak, and yes, for all those that are celebrating, happy Eid. And let's see here. We have any interventions for car thieves? Like interventions, like we should get together with them and tell them not to do it? Like an intervention usually is where your friends
Yeah,
get together
I'm
and say,
gonna-
hey, we know what you're doing.
I'm going to say, yeah, get your friends to tell you to stop doing it. Stop stealing cars.
That's the only intervention that I'm aware of. I mean, listen, arrest is an intervention. Maybe that's what we are. We're just friends who want to stop you from doing toxic things.
There you go. Tell you, Sean, I was out on Saturday. I was driving around. I actually bought a trailer on Saturday. So I had a couple of, almost 1,000 kilometers that I drove. But I did stop on the way at a roadside attraction. Just stopped for a little time. It was going to be the world's smallest turbine. I got to tell you, not a big fan.
And that is the joke. I thought it was a good joke. It really caught me off guard because he came in with a good story, straight faced. Less oomph when we have to Google it.
Yes.
But it's still is good.
I can't believe I forgot that one.
I know it's good, but it's got the lead up, right? Drifting stuff. Oh, yes. So comments about those that are choosing to do the
You know
drifting.
what? I actually disagree with that.
Yeah.
I do. But there's a time and a place for it.
So on a track where it's legal, this is cool.
If it's a competition and you look at motorcycle, dirt bike drifting, flat track,
Mhm.
you know what?
Racing
I get
on
it.
track.
I get it. I would love to do it. Not on the road, not in a parking lot. That's just not the place for it. Trust me, I like going fast and I like drifting.
You more than most people, you are the go fast and every kind of vehicle guy.
I am, but you got to do it smart.
Someone says, okay, but cops go fishing for these activities such as after a Fast and Furious movie. Listen, if you're influenced to do dumb stuff after a dumb movie, and I stopped watching after like the third one. What are they at? Like Fast and the Furious 86?
Yeah.
They're walking with canes now.
Cops don't have to go fishing for it. It's all the people that come out of the movie that just drive like donkeys.
Yeah. Not cool. Let's see here.
The cop on the right is a seasoned guy.
He did all these things. I guess it's talking about all the things that you did as a young person with your mock, fast car. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about.
Seasoned or just, you can call me old. I'm old.
We're both old. Has anyone asked yet about the vandalism that is happening on speed cameras? What is being done to prevent it? I'm assuming I ad-libbed the end. I don't know.
I can tell you that the one that is close to my house was a very short one. It was by a high school, and it got vandalized all the time. And what they've done is they've raised it up and put it on a pole. You would need a step ladder to
I
get up
saw
there.
one of the new ones that's now permanently installed as opposed to the mobile ones. Those, yeah,
Yep.
unless you're very tall.
The housing of it is permanently installed, but I think they moved the camera in and out of it.
Is that right?
think
But
so.
normally, or up until very recently, I had only seen the big rectangle hanging out on the grass, and it's not permanently anything. It's just sitting on the grass.
So here's-
People were tipping them over. Yeah.
Here's my thought. Why would somebody want to do that? If you're a driver, that's slowing down the other people that are driving around you that may put you at risk. If it's in your neighborhood, your family lives there, you live there, do you want the speeders going by? We get more complaints from neighborhoods saying, we need police here. They're running stop
Right.
signs. They're going too fast. It's crazy.
When it's your neighborhood, you care. When it's somebody else's neighborhood, people hammer down.
Who is spray painting this? The guy who got a ticket last week?
Probably.
Well, you know what? Maybe you should just slow down.
It's so easy. If you don't break the law, we don't give you tickets. That's how it works. So, funny thing. What was the funny thing? First off, if you're interested in this topic about automated speed enforcement, check out the podcast we did. It was last year or the year before already. I've reached out to the guys to do an updated episode because it's the city of Toronto that runs this program. It's not the Toronto Police. The city of Toronto runs it, and it's the Toronto Automated Enforcement Group. They came in and did an interview. Well, actually, it was remotely, but it was really cool. And they talked all about how this stuff works and the kind of complaints. I'm pretty sure this happened in the episode, but either way, we had a conversation and two things. One guy got the same ticket 4 times in a row, going around the block, not stopping for the red light at the right turn. So 4 tickets, like 10 minutes apart each time. You do have to stop when you make right turns first, and you can only proceed when it's safe to do so. But that's another story. The other thing was someone that was like writing letters to the city saying, I want a camera on my street, was then the person complaining because they got tickets doing the same thing. You ask for the camera, they put it in, and then you get tickets. Like, wow. Like, were you expecting an exemption? And I think they were. So, yeah. Dr. Curtis Love, the fine person who was asking about the pepper ball, says, I love this show, you two. Well, I appreciate it. So I hope that means you follow us. You come back. We'll be back tomorrow.
And I do too.
Yeah, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We'll do it again. We went way long today, but it was good. I had fun. And we try and do it for an hour, but sometimes it's an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes sometimes.
And I'm good. Actually, we could go longer.
We could.
But nah, I think we need to eat.
Eat?
Well, I need to eat.
Somebody said, do you care?
Do I care?
I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. We
You know
care
what?
about a lot of stuff.
I seriously do.
We care. Actually, that's exactly why I do this job. I'm absolutely interested in helping people, keeping people safe, and I have been to enough fatal collisions to overfill the cup of I don't ever want to see that kind of stuff again. I don't. It's no fun to see the death and destruction and the impact to families and communities caused by choices drivers make. I don't think people understand just how bad what they do could be. Like everyone just speeds a little bit, but when you're zigging, you should have zagged, and things don't work out the way you planned, and no one goes home, or some people like my friend who is the only survivor of a single vehicle collision, where 3 of his best friends died. He ended up with burns to like 75% of his body. People don't think about those things, and when they hear about them, they block it out and go, that's them, not me. I'm
better driver than that.
I'm way better. Oh, speaking of better drivers, people who say cars are better than they've ever been. Bembo brakes, all this ABS. We can go way faster than we ever could because it's safe.
Yep. Then all the collisions would have stopped.
Why are we still losing? We lost 45 people in the city of Toronto last year, 49 of whom were pedestrians.
Sorry.
Speed kills.
Sorry. We lost 45 and 49 were pedestrians?
29. Sorry, my bad. 29 pedestrians were killed. 45 people were killed in total, including the pedestrians. But people say, well, that's not a big deal.
But it is.
If it was your family, you'd have different thoughts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we care deeply about public safety because you know what? My family is in Toronto and is in Canada and is on the road. And your friends and family, well, they're doing it too.
You know what? Being a police officer kind of gives you a front row seat to everything
good and
that
bad.
You really shouldn't see.
That is true.
And we deal with it every
no
day.
one's not all of us deal with it. And those of us who put on a good face are often dealing with it inappropriately, inside, suppressing this stuff. And then, a lot of us either need therapy or should be in therapy or might eventually be in therapy. It's a lot. No one is designed to see this. It's not normal. So, when people talk to me about becoming a police officer, I say it's the best job ever. But know that it's not what you see on TV.
Right.
There's a lot more to it. And certain units, they have forced therapy because they do see so much that they have to check in and make sure. And mental health is something that we're way more educated about than we ever have been. And it's not wrong to need help. So just that. So if you're dealing with something that's giving you a hard time, whether it's because of your job or your personal life or just life, find someone who can, talk to someone. There are people out there, there's professionals, friends, lean on people. Talk about your problems. Keeping it all inside, not good. Zabik99 says, if my bike goes 50 kilometers an hour, e-bike, sorry, can I just stay at the legal 30 kilometer an hour limit?
So technically, no. You're riding a motorcycle. But would you be stopped traveling at 30 kilometers an hour?
We might never know, unless, of course, you were driving something that we knew based on its description or appearance was an illegal device.
People get caught because they self-identify.
Mm-hmm.
And if you travel at 50 kilometers an hour on any bike, you self-identify as somebody who needs to be stopped and given a ticket.
And that's a serious ticket. Now, technically speaking, so you should understand exactly what we're saying. That bike, if it's capable of doing 50, is illegal. Whether it's limited.
No, it's not illegal.
Illegal.
It's a motorcycle.
It's not legal unless it's properly plated, insured, and so on as a motorcycle. And actually, I would say it is illegal because you can't actually plate it. So it's not capable for on-road use. You cannot do the right thing even if you want to. So it's kind of a jackpot. It's for off-road use, and it's only for places that you're legally allowed to use it, which is usually private property. So here's the deal. If it's 50K an hour, and it's like saying a Tesla it doesn't need a license and insurance if you keep it under 30. It's still a car. It still has all the requirements. And that's the situation. The legal requirements, and you can go to trafficcop.ca to look it up on there because I have links to all of it. Maximum speed capable 32 kilometers an hour, maximum peak output of the motor 500 watts. So the ones that do 50, 60, 80, they're like 12 gigawatts. Like they're like really up there and capable of tremendous power and speed. Those are not e-bikes.
And an e-bike itself, technically speaking, is an electric motor vehicle. It does not go by muscular power alone. But there's an exemption. But always remember, it starts off being a motorcycle first, and then it has an exemption for certain
It
things.
is a conditional exemption. You don't meet the criteria, you are not exempt. Simple as that. And there's different requirements for e-kick scooters and there's so many different things. And this is where we try and educate. And I'm glad you brought this up because we haven't talked about e-bikes in a couple of weeks.
The $5,000 to $25,000 no insurance ticket is the one that
Up to 6 months in jail.
that's the one that gets you.
someone asking about, never mind the accidents, worry about the key being left at my door. Yeah, no. People really love that comment. Windshield tint strict. Yes. You're an unsafe motor vehicle with windshield tint. I would take your plates in a heartbeat.
As would I.
Yeah. I have seen, I've been inundated, in fact, with advertising for removable tints. Have you seen these?
No.
So they're tints that are laser cut, I guess, or factory cut to meet your make and model. So the way they're advertising it is, oh yeah, you get pulled over, just reach up, pull it down, chuck it in your back seat, and you're fine. I cannot tell you how stupid these things are. I mean, it is a bad idea. It's still illegal.
Yep.
You can still lose your plates. You can still, even though it's temporary. Like some coppers have said, okay, peel the tints, remove the tints, and you'll maybe not get your plates removed, but you're still going to get the ticket.
And that's exactly what I've done.
Yeah.
You want to fix it right now? Because I'm not letting you drive away if you can't see out the window.
You're getting towed.
So.
But I'd want to see that removable stuff was destroyed or something, because otherwise you're going to do it again, and you're going to continue the offense. So what is this? Is there a specific limit to where you're setting and aiming the headlights? Some headlights seem much brighter. So there's a maximum brightness. If you're doing aftermarket, that's where the real problem is with the brightness. If you're taking factory stuff, directing it, I don't remember what the rules are. There's a guide to how to set them.
There is. And with the LED lights and the HID lights, there's one bulb in there. And it's just a reflector that goes up and goes down. And there's a specific where you have to set it. There is a specific height. Also, there's a specific height of the light. So if you're raising or lowering your car, there's that changes your angle as well. And
if you're sometimes this is the issue, is that your driveway might be on a particular angle, and people are now facing up, and they angle it. You're not flat. You have to be on a flat surface when you're adjusting it. You go to a parking lot where you're at a proper flat level, and then you go against the wall at a certain distance, and then you measure it based on that. And you need to have some tools, like you have to have a screwdriver, you got to have a tape measure to do it properly. But a lot of vehicles coming out of dealerships are misaligned.
And you know what? It all depends on how you load it and use it as well. Because my previous car that had halogen headlights, it didn't change that much when I had a load in the back. But my new truck, as soon as I put the trailer on that I picked up this weekend, you could tell that it was angled up a little bit.
Really?
So the LED lights on the front are made for, they're not movable ones. I went, stood in front of the truck, and yeah, it could have been. I'm now going to invest in a load leveling.
Oh, that'll actually change the height of the vehicle.
It just levels your vehicle out and puts some of the weight on the back wheels and some of the weight in the front.
Interesting. Jerry Joe says, people honk at me when I completely stop at a stop sign. Isn't that the legal way to do it? Yeah.
Jerry, you got it.
Yeah, you get the bonus points. If they have a bad day because you're doing the right thing, well, screw them.
And guess what? Let me know, and I'll come out and give them a ticket for unnecessary noise for their horn.
if we're close, that's one of those things we can't get you later. But 100%, you following the law, if it ruins everybody else's day, then they get to have a bad day. Don't change your behavior and don't break the law just because someone's being a bully.
It's kind of like, do I get to speed because the guy behind me is going faster and he's too close? No.
Percy says, well said, but I don't know what he's saying well said to.
And he didn't even actually say said.
Oh, I assume said. Should we see the things we want to see? Really long nickname says all our grandparents turn to booze and mental health therapy, or as mental health therapy. I can't read today. Maybe it's because it's an hour and 48 minutes into the show.
You know what? It's true. And people still do that.
Many people self-medicate. It's not good, not healthy. What is the difference between being arrested or not for a stunt driving charge? Aren't you being charged criminally anyway? So
stunt driving? No,
it's not criminal.
But it is arrestable.
It is arrestable authority. Generally, you're being arrested and then released on the charge, when you're being given the documents. Rarely are you being brought into the station. It could happen.
Right. So you are technically could be arrested, even though the physical action doesn't happen, but it could happen. But you're going to be then released by way of summons to court.
Right.
So in a traffic ticket, part 1 is just a notice of offense. Part 3, which is the summons that says you committed this offense. Now you have to go to court and explain why you did that to a justice of the peace. An arrest is the physical part of it. Your movement and your freedom is taken away from you, and you can be released by way of paperwork at the side of the road. It can be released by way of officer in charge of the station.
Now you can add conditions. Right? Things have really changed in terms of.
Or you may have to go to court and tell a judge why they should release it.
I like this comment. Never in my life I thought I would watch a Toronto police live stream. So just because I'm going to make a tweet about it, let's do a thumbs up picture. We're going to pose. I'm going to take a screenshot. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to put you on Twitter because Musa, I think that's awesome. Whether you intended it to be awesome or not, I think it's awesome. All right.
And you learn a lot here, he said. So
Where?
right down one.
Oh,
there.
that's Josh who's responding and says, and you learn a lot here. That's the whole goal. We're here for you because as the song that I'll play on the way out is, it's all about.
So which one you got?
This is a new one.
This is a new one.
Yeah, this is. I don't know if I heard this one or not.
This is not the traffic.
I'll try and pull that one out as well because so the traffic song, which is this is the traffic song. Well, and it's great. Someone said we got to make a rock version, so I did, and then actually I know how to find it, and then I made a version for. I've been doing different theme songs. This is all from. I'll put it on screen. It's
He's so geeky.
I am a total geek. I know, and I'm proud of it. But where to go? Today's Suno.ai. Not a sponsor. I just love their stuff, so I think they're great. There's a free version of this. You can just like have 50 credits a day, which is like 10 songs, and you can do this. Just type in anything, and you make a song. So this morning I said, what did I say? I said they made a song called "Traffic Troubles," and it was this.
Cruising down the West Coast, feeling all fly, but little did I know I was about to get caught in a lie. Breaking traffic laws, thinking I was cool, but now I'm stuck in traffic, feeling like a fool. Stuck in a jam with the red and blue lights behind. Wishing I had watched that show, learned my lesson in time. Should've tuned in to Mr. Shapiro's advice. Now I'm paying the price, paying this fine twice. I was swerving through traffic like I own the road. Never knew it was a dangerous game. I was about to explode. Didn't understand the signs, didn't read them right. Now I'm facing the consequences, losing my life.
I thought that was awesome. And it's like when I typed it, I said, make a song about getting caught breaking the law. And it would have been better if you've seen the show. And it wrote everything. This is just so cool. So do me a favor. If you go to Suno and you make a song, post it, and then tag me in it so I can hear what you create. Wherever platform you're on, I will check it out. I really want to hear it. You flag it as public, and then we can listen to your music. I think this is so neat.
What a modern country one. Rock one I like.
Okay. Let's say the same song. We'll say country song. So we're gonna make one live.
Modern country though, because
modern
old country is like, yeah.
Modern country song. Okay. So it's gonna take a couple of seconds to make that. In the meantime, I don't know what this one sounds like. Oh, this is the one. I did say it.
Cruising down the street, feeling so free. Didn't see the sign, didn't know what it means. Saw the lights flash and my heart started racing. Should've watched Sean Shapiro. I was misbehaving, didn't understand what I did wrong. Got caught in a mess. Now I'm singing this song, feeling so
We could go to a club.
We could if we could dance.
No dancing. Oh, I broke it. Okay. I clicked on the song for the country's version because it was ready.
I was cruising down that country road, feeling fine. Not a care in the world, just killing time. But little did I know trouble was brewing near. I got caught breaking laws that I didn't even hear. I saw those red and blue lights flashing in my rear view. My heart sank deep, knew there was nothing I could do. I should've watched that show, learned the rules of the game.
There you go.
Now I'm facing consequences, shame and the blame. Oh, the taste.
Okay, I'm going to stop it just because we could do this for hours.
Yes.
I'm going to play the actual traffic song remix. So again, this is the one that started out as.
Yellow light, red light, green light.
And I like it a lot. And it was a real person who wrote it, performed it, and we recorded it here in studio in our little space, and it's real. This, remember, is not real. It's the lyrics. I typed them in, which was interesting. Listening verse by verse, typing it. Okay, here we go.
And on that note, I'm going to be going.
This is it. This is the
promise
end of
this is it.
we promise. Okay.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Down your cell phone, nobody
Yes,
needs you to
it is actually
text
pretty
and
good.
drive on the TV player. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt save your life indeed. Watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
All right, sir, I gotta run.
Okay. We will see you.
You might go to jail and not get free.
Okay. I'll cut the music. There was a question of can I answer more questions? Unfortunately, 2 hours is like the max. I can't go more. So while I appreciate you want to see stuff and come back tomorrow because 10 a.m. Eastern we will be done. But we are out. We'll see you tomorrow. And that will be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. There was one other comment here. Can you start a YouTube channel like Fridays with Frank? We'd love to see more Toronto action. I've talked about this. Motor Squad would love to do it. There's complications to preventing us from doing it right now, but maybe one day, possibly, I don't know. Definitely want to do it. Have a great day. Stay safe. Drive sober. Drive legally. Park legally. And smile because even looks good on you. Take care.